Unfortunately, I think you're wrong. But we'll find out right now if I'm going to eat my words. Take it away, guys.
I mean, here we are at Chiefs. Firstly, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. I'm glad we got rid of Cole because, you know, you can only do so much with him. You know, you go one series and you think you can get out of here. So I'm glad that I was able to make you come back and help me out here. But what a series we have, as you said. NRG, they're facing, I guess, you know, this back against the wall sort of thing we've spoken about. They finally had a good result last regional, but can they back it up here and try and sneak into that 5th spot for the major?
Need the repeat for sure. And really this whole, you know, first minute and a half or so is all about, all right, can you hang with FaZe? Because you know they're going to be coming at you. I wouldn't be surprised to see the deep back rotation for at least one to give themselves an out, because it's been a lot of big punt game here early on. Nobody really bringing the ball down, forcing people to make options. This may be the first look at it from this.
I mean, you speak about this deep, you know, sitting back game. Is this just NRG's playstyle at this point? They've built it for the last, you know, I mean, as long as I can remember right now, they're playing off mistakes. You know, Chrome speaks about a lot, Space Station's coach, that they're a team that they just grew at this foundation of just capitalizing on mistakes. And it was almost the NRG presence on the field that just struck fear into the other team. They were causing mistakes out for no reason, but they're certainly a little bit less threatening these days. Teams are starting to figure them out. They're having to change their play style up, but early days, it is a lot of, you know, it just feels like both teams feeling each other out. No one really looking to commit too hardcore.
Ooh, okay. As FaZe definitely been in control of the pace in general. Typical with a chance, but well defended by Garrett G. Not a lot of physicality coming through. That was something that FaZe was able to execute on pretty well in the previous regional. Not really had quite the same level of opportunity here against NRG.
There's Ishi now. Gets the ball across, and we're just seeing again, we're getting a lot of gameplay in the blue half, but not much pressure coming out, are we? Yeah. We're not seeing sort of the boost grabs, the midfield game coming out. So, I mean, both sides not really looking to be too threatening. I think it's almost that, textbook. You know, let's not concede sort of mentality. Let's play some perfect Rocket League, hope the other team makes a mistake. Unfortunately, you know, for the side of NRG, you've got a FaZe Clan in defense. They're not going to make too many mistakes, particularly when you've got a player like Mist as well, joining the ranks, just bolstering up that defense. Oh, yeah. You did get a big level up in terms of the stability in that Mist, I would say. But at the same time, he has had to take a bit of backseat in terms of the offensive output. That was something that he had to do a lot of in terms of the counter-attacking when he was on his previous rosters. And now he's got a lot of potential there in First Killer and Typical to go fill that role. So it's kind of the give and take. I think he's a bit more relaxed now, you reckon? He's just hanging out, you know, he's got the boys, he's got the offense covered. He doesn't have to, you know, on Optic, he had to do a little bit as well, you know, sort out the defense, and he was pushing forward. But right now, this team, it feels like, you know, we spoke about it with AJ, that it's that roster is missed almost. You know, we talked about no offense. He nearly just popped off there. Counter-attack. This is what NRG like best, though, the counter-attack situation. Just give them an opportunity to have a little 3-on-2 counter-attack, and they're all the way downfield. They're ready to go. But, you know, getting back to Mist as well. He's a lot more comfortable now. With AJ, they needed 2 balls on the pitch. Oh, man. Oh, the fake coming up, First Killer. Almost. What? Saved out somehow, NRG. There is only 1 ball on the pitch now, as I said. FaZe Clan, they're going to use that, but they still need to find a way to put it into the back of the net, Chiefs. Did a really nice job there. I don't know how Justin was able to keep his positioning in such a way that he was able to get to the left side of the net and then all the way back to the right side where the clear went. Well played on his part. 0-0 overtime, feeling more and more likely, but at the same time, it does feel like FaZe pressing just a little bit more here to try and close it out in regulation. Just feels like even Garrett there, I know he did make the save, but just these little gaps out of nowhere from NRG where you just think, all right, they should have this lockdown. It should be all good. Musty Flick comes out. It's a great save from Mist. I mean, that's the defense we know and love, but I'd like to see that flare again. The gaps in NRG's rotation is a little bit concerning for those guys, but right now they're looking strong. Swishy could get this middle. Justin's waiting for it, and again, Mist just gets it. He gets a fingernail onto the cheese. Now it's down the other way. Garrett doesn't
get bumped, just avoids it. Huge play, 5 seconds. We should be getting overtime unless the net's open. This should be open. NRG wants it.
First killer's too far forward. They catch him leaning. Oh, he really thought he does the Cardinal offensive sin. He has a teammate in the corner already, and he drives up there too. His teammate doesn't get a hand on the ball, and he is caught leaning. NRG collect with 1 second, and oh, they survive.
You can say the perfect start. They didn't concede that game, but it wasn't a convincing 1-0. But again, it felt like that was the mistake. You know, game one, we said, you know, as soon as the kickoff started, NRG, they're going to capitalize on mistakes. That was a mistake from First Killer Achieves, but I feel like as well it might have been a little bit of overconfidence in his teammates. Yeah. He was so pushed up.
He's going to get the touch. I'm going to be ready.
Yeah, he wanted that 0-second goal. I feel like he's like, righto, this is ridiculous. You know, we're FaZe Clan. We should be scoring multiple goals per game. What's going on? Let's get the 0-second goal, and NRG capitalize, Leaf.
Yeah, no, that I kind of want to ask, because again, we're still in the first rounds here. Potentially, Optic can look to have a reverse sweep, because I think they're already down 1 against Team Axel and they're losing 3 on the next one. So maybe another reverse sweep for Optic. It's all going according to plan, as we say. But I wanted to ask CJ, now watching this match and watching NRG on the field, do you feel like the convincing win can come out, or do you feel like, sure, they got the win there, but it's still a lot of pressure on them?
I don't think the way NRG are right now, they're not at their top, or they're not at their peak from what we've seen in previous seasons. I don't think any win Achieves is going to be convincing against the other top teams in the region. They're certainly not going to just dominate the field, but a win's a win.
In a best of 5 too, that's valuable. I mean, you looked at that highlight reel, there's those 2 saves by Justin. That one could have very easily, probably should have been overtime if you think about it, but he made a great play on the goal line, kept them tied 0-0, and they got away with one at 0 seconds, able to capitalize on a small miscue. And NRG, you know, they do what they do best. Lock down where they can and see what happens back the other way.
I mean, the thing, there's merit to this play style, right? I mean, if you look at, you know, obviously Justin had to make an incredible save, but if FaZe were up 1-0 in that game, you wouldn't see First Killer pushing as hard for that goal. So it's almost, you need to lock it down, because that forces FaZe to go, righto, let's push forward, we'll not overcommit, but perhaps send a few more troops than usual, as if they had the lead, or compared to if they had the lead. So there is merit in locking it down, because it is going to expose a side like FaZe Clan that want to be in the lead. They want to be in control. So maybe that false sense of security they're trying to give them, you know, let them attack, but don't let them score. Wait for a mistake.
Easier said than done. Against a team like FaZe, for sure. A couple of boost steals there for Squishy on the back line. This is a 2-man push, and Garrett G is right through him. This is going to be 2-on-1 back the other way now. First Killer gives him space, and it's too fast for Garrett G to connect with. Got away with it.
Just the chip and run there coming out, but not quite. To no avail there, Garrett G. But what about the defensive play there from Garrett? That's twice. We saw it last game as well. He was getting bumped. Everything was on him on the line. Last man back, and he clutched up. So huge defensive play already coming out in game number 2 and game number 1 here from Garrett G.
Great bounce as well, and it's going to set up Squishy. He's got pretty much nowhere to pick from. Eventually, that third shot had to come through, and FaZe finally had the time to figure out where it needed to be, but tough break for NRG. A couple of good looks there.
I mean, you say Garrett set up Squishy, but he was going for the shot there. He wanted to bury that one, and unfortunately, it's one of those situations, Chief, where you have the free shot and you almost try and do too good of a shot, and he bit off a little bit more than he can chew. So an opportunity gone begging there for NRG, but having said that, they're under pressure. I'm not sure how that ball's gone left, but you know, NRG live to fight. Garrett's getting bumped again. Last man, can he make another save? No. First Killer puts it away. Garrett, how many times can he's left on an island here at Jeeves by himself. Someone help him out.
And he gets denied the corner boost as well, and Mist just forces him into the box, where he's going to have to make this really awkward attempt over the shoulder, or maybe have to cut off a pass that he didn't even see coming because he was so busy getting harassed by Mist. That was a great setup from him. Doesn't get any points for it, but Mist the reason that one went in.
I mean, it is weird as well, though, seeing NRG in those situations. We speak about how defensive these guys are, but again, even here, Squishy's last man, it feels like they're just so slow to rotate back. Second man is just committing. They're throwing the kitchen sink in the offense, NRG, but they're not being able to rotate back and help out that last man, which is perhaps a playstyle shift that we're seeing, looking to be more defensive, looking to be more aggressive, but it looks like it's starting to unravel a little bit on that side of things. However, the touch, what a shot, missed again. He's always there at Chiefs to make that save.
Guy has it sussed out. I mean, could feel where that ball was going from Squishy when he got that ground pinch. Great read defensively for him. Pass across, and Garrett G knew that something was going to be there, and I'm actually pretty surprised that Mist didn't try and get in front of it and stop it. But either way, Faze are content to be up one pass to Justin, and that will be cleared away as well.
It's almost the win condition for NRGs. They need to score first, because as we said, you don't think FaZe Clan are going to overcommit here. They're going to be able to lock it down. Having said that, Squishy does get the touch across, but I think it's going to be a much more reserved game coming out. First kill, a great touch, and just defensively right now, they're just getting the touches they need. They're helping each other out. I know the NRG right now, they're looking to press, but FaZe Clan, they've got all the answers.
Oh, and missed a little misdirection. How do you handle it? Justin gets tied up on the wall. What a shot.
I like that missed direction. I like that. That's pretty good from you off the fly. What a touch, though. It's just high enough that he still gets it under the bar, but just it changes the angle perfectly so the defender can't save it there. 2-0 now. You'd have to think FaZe are going to lock this one out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now they definitely don't have to push. if you see more than two people pass the midfield line, I would be amazed. It's not without a really good reason for it. You don't have to be too worried about, NRG hitting the pop-off goal on you. Wait, what? Did he just not have boost?
I think he just wasn't expecting the bounce shot. I was going to say ground pinch, but I think it was just more a bounce shot coming out here from this.
Yeah, he got
a little bit of the ground pinch, and Justin, I think, was expecting a dribble. Great shot there from Mist, though. Opportunistic, just seeing that Justin was a little bit correct. Turned his car forward, wrong direction, and 3-0 here. This is probably what we expected coming out in game number 1, but having said that, the scoreline will still read 1-1 at the end of this game. So, all the wins, they're all the same on paper, Achieves. It's just you get a win, it's 1 point. It doesn't matter how you do it. This looks a lot more convincing than NRG's game number 1. However, it's still all tied up after this.
Still actually pretty surprised. Oh, wait, what?
Now, wait a second. What is happening here? Let's get a little slow-mo action replay here. I believe
that's the last time he touched it?
Civical missed the ball and then I think left it, and then Mist had no clue what Civical was doing. Sip tried to
you're going to hit it, man.
It's just, I'd say it's a catastrophe. They've earned themselves a 3-goal lead, a 3-goal buffer, so it's not the end of the world here with 20 seconds left, unless something crazy can happen.
That's a wild goal to give up, but you're right. I'm not sure anyone's really too fussed about it. Justin will make a save there, but I'm actually quite surprised to see, what is this, 5, 8, 10 shots on target for NRG, only 6 for FaZe. I don't really remember exactly how many of them were high quality and had goal scoring potential, but it is good to see NRG at least pushing out, and they're not sitting here allowing 10 against FaZe and only getting 4-5 back the other way. So yeah, at least there's that for NRG, because I was a little bit worried if they just sat there and got trounced for 5 minutes at a time.
It still is a bit of a funny game here, Leaf. I mean, like we've got this situation where, FaZe Clan, you're expecting this like offensive powerhouse, but it's almost that maybe it's just the NRG factor. When you're playing NRG, it's a lot more reserved and it feels a bit more slower paced than what we come to expect from a FaZe.
Well, I mean, clearly they're using hacks. They just shut down Civical's controller.
Yeah. Unplug the wire real quick, so he just short hops past the ball, and everyone's like, what?
It's the NRG factor for sure. I don't know what that includes, but it's there. On the side of eliminations, it's pretty close right now, where teams going back and forth. Only one game really has passed, and then now the other teams are winning. But on the side of qualification, OG is starting to look towards their reverse sweep again. Axel is up 2-0, and Optic did have the lead in game 3. It is tied now, but potentially qualification for Axel, which is huge, or maybe another reverse sweep for Optic, which is expected.
I think it's another reverse sweep coming out from. I mean, these guys, have you been following? This is ridiculous, Jay. Like, you were there earlier. Optic Gaming get a reverse sweep, and then they set up another one, go to game 5, fail it against, well, it's FaZe Clan, so we can forgive them there. But then they pull out another reverse sweep as well on Knights. I mean, it doesn't matter who the team is. They could be a top team.
It's just a game 5 day.
They just want to set up a reverse sweep. I mean, I said it with Cole. It's almost they lose the first 2 games and they go, perfect. This is going according to plan.
Now we're set up. Handicap set. Wait, is he just through here?
He'll be an
opportunity. I never should have doubted this. He's too good, man.
He just... the problem is, I feel like when NRG get through, the last player you want is missed on the other side because he just locks it in and there's a gap in the rotation, a gap in the structure there. NRG fall apart and I believe Justin was baited out here. Squishy sitting under the ball.
He turned back to the corner.
I think just expecting an insta challenge there. Squishy has put his controller down as well, which is interesting. He stopped playing as soon as that one went through. Perhaps not happy with what was going on behind him. And as we said, they have to start well. You have to score the first goal if you're NRG and put FaZe under pressure, make them commit. But they haven't done that here, Chief, so that was worrying.
Just such a weird goal. Because Justin, I went to his camera because he's the third man, and it's like, oh, why was he not back in time? And the thing about it is he was. Like, he had the boost, and then he turned back towards the right corner as that one gets popped into the lower right-hand side. Typical finds the back shoulder. FaZe up 2 now.
Yeah, I just think Garrett there sort of pre-jumped or tried to block missed touch, but he was so slow to get off the back foot. I feel like he should have just waited on the back foot to try to get the save. At that point, this is a common, not a common mistake, but a thing pros do is, you know, if you're slowing the rotation, you almost force it. You try and make it work rather than just just get given up on that play altogether. But there he tried to sort of salvage, I guess, the slow rotation to get in, and that probably wasn't
pressure on instead of just saying, look, we need the stability instead of just saying, let's go for the counterattack, let's steal the ball. And when you're beat like that.
Quick mid-game update. TJ, you were incorrect. Whoops. Axel just won in overtime.
Oh,
so well, they qualified.
Hey, there we go.
I mean, at least Optic set it up, though. I mean, that's the main thing.
That's something.
They've set up four reverse sweeps now. They've been successful in 50%. So is it still a good strategy? Don't know.
I think they've learned it's not the best strategy.
Wow. I mean, that's
crazy.
Typical. It's actually bonkers. I mean, just the cut to the middle and Squishy and Garrett, they're both playing near post defense. They're not really in a bad spot, but I mean, it's just the way that Typical just jumped all the way out in front past the first killer. Yeah, score it again.
This is beautiful. They're coming out for it. This is a four-man pass play. That is disrespectful. The Chiefs coming out back to Typical. He started the play. He's going to finish it. Nothing Garrett can do, and just a little misplay off kickoff there. I mean, the Typical just was able to sit on the ball on kickoff, basically on the cheat, and have all the time in the world to set up the play. But I love that. I love the pass plays coming out in those situations because so often when you've outnumbered the defense, you're looking for that bump play. But I love bringing back the pass plays. It feels like that's the
easy way.
Yeah, it's just nice to see a good infield pass rather than a 2-on-1 bump play. This could be open. First killer's going to get back. No, he's not. The Typical is there to bail him out. Almost the difference here as well, as we just saw, is, you know, a bump comes out for NRG. They're looking to push forward, but FaZe are ready with that guy rotating back. They're fast enough to cover, whereas NRG get bumped and it's a goal.
That's because, like what you were talking about, you know, you need to be out in front if you're NRG early. You know, have to be having FaZe be the ones to press forward, try and make the big play. And maybe that's why you saw Garrett G trying to force that challenge off the backboard earlier, because it's like, look, we got to start going right now, as that one goes the complete wrong direction. And FaZe going to find a way to waste a few more seconds off the clock. 2 minutes, down 4. Looking at 1-2 in the series, and that's 2 games in a row here, where FaZe have kind of just been like, yep, we are winning this game.
Whether you like it or not.
The sad part is NRG kind of lose all that they had from the previous game, where they're at least like, okay, look, we've got at least, 10 shots, we're breaking out of our own half, and here in this one, it's not breaking out of your own half. And now that you hit, a minute and a half and you're down 4, no one really cares how many more shots you put on target because FaZe Clan's just going to be camped back there saying good luck.
It's frustrating when you're running outside of NRG in this situation. You're trying to score FaZe Clan. They're so, although not giving an inch, but there's an opportunity. Squishy fakes out the defense. 1 minute on the clock. Getting one back achieves, maybe a bit of momentum.
Maybe. At least it's stopping the bleeding. As first killer, I think he was trying to give himself as many options to clear the
covering everything.
Possible. Yeah, if it got shot high, got choked, and at least maybe try and go get it, but can't save everything in that spot. The FaZe, yeah, let's enter time waste mode. Come and take the ball from me.
It's very, very methodical, very thought out. And I mean, if your role is sitting back in this situation, you're thinking, how good is this? This is a well-oiled machine coming out here, locking down the win. But you know, getting back to, I guess, NRG's game one, it sort of just feels more and more as this series progresses like that was truly the definition of a warm-up game from FaZe Clan, where nothing really happened. And I mean, even though NRG won that game, you said they sort of took a bit from it. I think the only thing they took from that game was, you know, the scoreboard. They got the series win. They did it. They didn't do anything else, really.
That was literally it. It was like, hey, it's a best of 5. You're a third of the way home now, and that in and of itself was the value. You weren't happy about how you got there, but like you said, the win's a win, no matter how it comes your way. But unfortunately, 2 games straight. I mean, you're really wishing that you had the timeouts in the best of 5s, because this is 2 games in a row where you just haven't had the answer for FaZe for whatever is going on. And it feels to me, watching NRG, there's got to be some weird hiccup in the defensive communication, because I go back to that goal where, like, Justin's back in plenty of time, and, like, he just cuts forward back towards the corner, and Squishy's just not in position to take the challenge at the midfield. And everything's just like, wait, why is this not working? Who said what? And when was it said that caused those to be what happened, when the clear option is to 100, like right there, that's the goal. He was back way before that goal went in. It's like, who said what when to have Justin turn into the corner? You know what I mean?
It's just, it sort of just sums up NRG, Leaf. But what else you got for us here? What's happening around the grounds?
Yeah, well, I mean, the big stories are, you know, the eliminations down there. Pittsburgh Knights over 26 Rising 2-1, so they're on match point. V1 did lose game 1 to Dig, but now they've won game 2, and they just won game 3. So they're at match point. Maybe they'll get their win. They're clinched to Rotterdam. That's the big one that I'm keeping an eye on right now. And then in the uppers, we have Genji and Furia all tied up, and they're about to go into overtime in game 3 too. So very close series for them.
Interesting. You know, we spoke about at the start of the series. I just think that round 5 is going to shape up strong. But I mean, Chiefs, getting back to this game and NRG, we speak about, you know, you spoke about the end of that game, you know, NRG needing to change it up. But do they have it in their arsenal, if you will? Do they have something in their locker to be able to start? I mean, apart from FaZe doing this sort of situation where they seem to be overcommitting, getting a little bit too trigger happy with, if you will, with the offense, does NRG have the ability to be able to, you know, force that pressure and get that boost control? Because FaZe Clan just look too good right now.
Well, right now, I mean, the problem is they're getting absolutely clobbered on the challenge game. Like, that was like 6 in a row that just NRG could not get a handle on. Typical with a nice solid pop, and finally, they're just not in position enough to get the hand up. Well, I guess they got the hand up, but get the hand on the ball. And NRG just couldn't hold them off. Do they have it in them, though? I think, like, absolutely. That's the thing. Like, I never feel like I can be like, yep, NRG is just chalked. Like, it's absolutely toast. You know it's in there somewhere. And they're just trying to figure out where it is.
I think... I feel like the problem, you know, right now that I'm seeing with NRG is that it's not that they've lost the individual ability. You know, even Garrett said, what a touch, what a handoff here. We'll get back to NRG in a moment. I need to break down this goal here. First killer gets the 1, gets the 2 touch over the pop of Garrett, and Typical's ready for that. That's the difference. The defense wasn't ready for that extra touch with Typical. I mean, he read that the whole way across.
Love to see that. I mean, Typical. A lot of people were thinking he's down and out, toast after Space Station. And what a team to find yourself on.
I mean, the only saving grace right now for NRG is that round 5, surely they're not on the mainstream. Maybe the pressure's off them there at Jeeves and they can get the dub. But again, look, it's just an open F. See who gets his. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Sitting in front of the play, redirect onto the backboard, and then gets what an angle coming out on there. It's typical. He's wound back the clock. That looked like season 9. Are we back into typical best NA right now? What a shot.
That one can go in your personal highlight reel. Yeah, I don't care who you are. That's not easy. It looked so smooth, but that's hard.
I mean, it's just, it's one thing you think, oh, it's an open net, easy, he's got a free touch, but to set that up perfectly and
pace over his shoulder,
everything about that was perfect. But I mean, looking at NRG, FaZe Clan, I feel like we could talk about all day. These guys, we know they're ready. They're always going to be around the mark. That's why they've already qualified for the first major here. But I mean, on the side of NRG, I just, getting back to these guys, I just feel like they haven't lost their individual ability. They haven't lost their mechanics or anything like that. They haven't fallen off. I just think they've lost this ability to, the cohesion. Just watching them now, they're just not flicking the ball around and using each other. It's very much, I'm staying in behind. Like even Justin here, Squishy had a crack, stuffed up the dribble. Justin's like, right, I'll go in now. There's no 3-man pass plays coming out, or we see it very rarely right now. They're just not as confident to follow each other up. They're getting these opportunities off mistakes. This typical gets a pre-jump save, but they're not being creative as a team. They're being creative individually still. Justin still has the ability. Garrett and Squishy do as well to create those solo plays, but I'm just not seeing that. When you form you're a new team, and we call it like the honeymoon period, but it's because you're just flicking the ball around, you're having fun, you're not really thinking about it, and everything comes from that. I think because this team's been together for so long and they've lost a little bit of that ability to just win all the time, it seems like they're just not as ready to just trust each other and just have a bit of fun with it, have a bit of flair and flick the ball around. They're just not passing the ball as much.
That goes back a little bit to the old saying in traditional sports. It's still just a game. You got to be having fun. And it's certainly not fun for NRG right now. It's been trial ever since almost that really third regional last season, where they just bombed out, didn't even make the playoff stage. Everyone was hoping maybe they were back with the world showing. Here's the pass to Squishy and the shot straight at first killer, and it's like, it's there. The idea is there, but some execution, sometimes a little... That would have been the sickest own goal I've seen on the day.
As you said, the execution's not quite there, but I think, in terms of, I love saying just the eye test, putting the stats aside and looking at visually how they're looking on the field. I'm just not seeing that ability to, it's just awkward here as Squishy gets a touchdown. First killer puts it away, just falls into his lap, bounces off his head here. NRG it's a little bit in shambles. Squishy sort of, I mean, if that was down the other end of Cheese, if that was down the other end and Squishy drops it down to Justin or something, that would have been a brilliant play, but we're not seeing that on the offensive side.
I think you're right, though, because a lot of, NRG's bread and butter was in that offensive ability to, you say flick the ball around. I always kind of read it as it's beat the next man, beat the next man, beat the next man. And they always understood intuitively how they were going to do that. They're like, okay, this is the only way he can go to actually get around him. And they all understood that. And they've definitely lost a little bit of that ability to be like, how do we even get around people? I don't think they know anymore. It's like, can they do it? Yeah. But they just don't know how to do it anymore.
It sort of just feels like they're banging their head against a wall a little bit on offense. They're waiting for the wall to just leave. they're waiting for the wall to get. They want the wall to just get out of the way, so then they get an opportunity. But right now, if it's anywhere in the world, particularly in this North American style, the defense is so strong. little bit of help coming out. The defense is so strong right now across the regions. They're going to lock it down. As we said, FaZe are only giving up goals when they need to score. But when they don't, the NRG cannot find a way through. It's near impossible so far this series for NRG to find an opening. And that's pretty much the story. They're not creating that pressure. They're not forcing mistakes from the other team. They're just hoping something happens. They're just going to keep hitting that wall until, the wall gets tired and goes, oh, well, I guess I'll get out of the way. I guess I'll push downfield. And then they score, but,
That's the unfortunate reality, man. People have had to play against that for, at this point, literal years. And now the wall is up. The wall understands. The wall has been rebuilt and reinforced. You got to come up and win the arms race, so to speak.
I mean, it's